Good morning, everybody. Welcome to WellSprings. If your first time here, my name is Teresa. My pronouns are she and her, and I want to welcome you here, whether you are here in Bell Hall right now or whether you are joining us on the stream. We always start with singing, so please rise, whether in body or in spirit. Once in a while, we don't know what the order's gonna be, so we're just gonna wing it. No. First song is You Gotta Move. If you know it, sing along with us. 1, 2, 3, 4. You gotta move, you gotta move, you gotta move, child, you gotta move. But when the Lord gets ready, you gotta move. You may be high, you gotta move. You may be low, you gotta move. You may be rich, you gotta move. You may be poor, you gotta move. But when the Lord gets ready, you gotta move. You gotta move. You got to move. You gotta 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 move. When the Lord gets ready, you gotta move. You gotta move. You see that man? You gotta move. Walking down the street. You gotta move. You see the car? You gotta move. She walks a beat. You gotta move. When the Lord gets ready, you gotta move. You got to move. You gotta 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 move. When the Lord gets ready, you gotta move. All right, guys, take it away now. Whoa. You may be old. You gotta move. You may be young. You gotta move. You may be weak. You gotta move. Maybe has just. You gotta move. But when the Lord gets ready, you gotta move. Come on. You got to move. You gotta 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 move. When the Lord gets ready, you gotta move. All right, one more time already. Come on. You got to move. You gotta 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 move. When the Lord gets ready, you gotta move. When the Lord gets ready, you gotta move. All right. Oh, look at it. Everybody sat down. Wow. I know. I congratulate everybody on being here on this morning with this kind of dark. It's dark and everybody's sleepy because we shouldn't be here at this time of day. I get it. Trust me.
So now we'll sing you a lullaby.
Right. Yeah, sorry. But this next one's going to be a little slow. It usually is. And we're going to try to get some lights on in here as well. We all need them.
Well, I'm willing and I'm able, but I've been raising Cain. 'cause the path I'm on seems much the same. But in the cold night, I can't help but ask for more. Seems to be the pain that I'm asking for. Wash me in the water, take it all away. Wash me in the water, take away this pain. Wash me in the water, wash me of it all. Wash me in the water before I fall. Well, I've changed, Lord, I've changed. The man I used to be. Hurt you far too much before I could see. But in the cold night, I'm sure I'll find a way to drag you, honey, and bring you down again. Wash me in the water, take it all away. Wash me in the water, take away this pain. Wash me in the water, wash me of it all. Wash me in the water before I fall. All these days just pass me by now, ending up the same. All these days just pass me by now, ending up the same. Ending always the same, ending always the same, ending always the same, ending always the same. Wash me in the water, take it all away. Wash me in the water, take away this pain. Wash me in the water, wash me of it all. Wash me in the water before I fall. Wash me in the water, take it all away. Wash me in the water, take away the fall. Wash me in the water, wash me of it all. Wash me in the water before I fall.
Please rise, whether in body or in spirit. Now that we have some lights on and some energy moving in this room. I know a lot of you know this one, so please do sing along. As I walk through this wicked world, searching for light in the darkness of insanity, I ask myself, is all hope lost? Is there only pain and hatred and misery? And each time I feel like this inside, there's one thing I want to know. What's so funny about peace, love, and understanding? Oh, what's so funny about peace, love, and understanding? As I walk on through troubled times, my spirit gets so downhearted sometimes. So where are the strong? And who are the trusted? And where is the harmony, sweet harmony? 'Cause each time I feel it slipping away, it just makes me wanna cry. What's so funny about peace, love, and understanding? Oh, what's so funny about peace, love, and understanding? So where are the strong? You know this part now. And who are the trusted? And where is the What's so funny about peace, love, and understanding? Oh, what's so funny about peace, love, and understanding? Oh, what's so funny about peace, love, and understanding?
Hello. Welcome to WellSprings, both for those who were brave enough to wake up early on this Daylight Savings Time Sunday and join us here in person, and for all of those who are joining us from home. Please know that you are welcome in whatever form you choose to come in, and that we are happy to have you. Each week when we gather, we light a chalice as a symbol of our shared spiritual heritage as Unitarian Universalists, and as a symbol of the divine spark living within each of us, always burning, always bright. Today we have asked Celeste to come up and light the chalice for us, and once she has done so, we will say the words on the screen together. And together we say, we light this chalice to celebrate the path lit before us, the warmth of kindness that shines from within us, and the radiance of wisdom that is shared between us and never goes out. Thank you. Good morning. Our mission here at WellSprings is to be a community charged full with the charge of the soul. I'm going through a breakup. It's not fun, but I have been constantly reminded of a sense of resilience that I definitely did not have earlier on in my life. And funnily enough, the thing that has been charging me full this week is the weather. Some days it's been really stormy and gray and rainy, and a lot of people would describe that as miserable, and I just want to stay inside, and I wish I didn't have to deal with life and go out and adult and all that kind of stuff, which I totally get. But then the sun comes out, and it's beautiful, and it's vibrant, and it makes me feel like being out and about and alive and active and all of those other wonderful things. And very much like the weather, how I wake up in the morning kind of depends on the day, right? Some days it's really hard and I'm just dragging myself out of bed and just kind of going through the motions because that's what you have to do one step at a time. And other days it's like, you know what, I feel great, this is awesome, this is going to be a whole new chapter of my life, it's going to be better and stronger and fuller than it ever was before, and then it may start raining again. And that's okay, because that's kind of what it is to be human, isn't it? Right? Like, our feelings are kind of like the weather. They come and they go, and sometimes they're loud and scary and overwhelming, and other times they're very tranquil and calm and pleasant, and it all just depends on the day. And thankfully, I learned a long time ago that the best thing that I can possibly do in terms of being self-compassionate with myself is just notice the weather. There's a meme going around on the internet. I'm sure it's still going around on the internet. Memes never die. But it's a little picture of a little rainstorm cloud. Rain's coming down. There's a lightning bolt. And on the one side, there's a little bubble that says, it's raining. I hate the rain. And it's gray. And it's cold. And it's miserable. And it makes me sad. And all these other terrible things. And on the other side, there's the same rain cloud and the same stormy weather, and it says, it's raining. Yep. And the moral is, what is acceptance? Not the first one, the second. So sometimes it's stormy, and sometimes it's sunny. And either way, I can be the space for that. And I don't really know of a greater spiritual process to do on a daily basis than that. So my hope for all of you this week and every day is that you're able to hold the space for whatever the weather happens to be in your life. This morning, I'd like to especially welcome any newcomers, especially if this is your first or second time. You are especially welcome, and we're very glad that you're here. We hope that you'll take some time to fill out a connection card so that you can learn more about us and start to introduce yourself. And if you're watching from home, there is a link that you can click in the description below the video. And you can also fill out the connection card on your phone through the WellSprings app. And you can see any of our greeters this morning right there in the back, and they will help to connect you. And if you'd like to interact with folks who are joining online this morning, there's a live chat available on YouTube. To access it, you'll just need a YouTube or Google account. You can sign in, click the live chat button, and say hello. And finally, you can always find more information about today's service, as well as upcoming events and news through our WellSprings app or by scanning the QR code available on the welcome table, or it will be introduced by Carol in just a second. Jessica, not Carol, sorry. And we do have a few pieces of information that we would like to highlight. And for that, I will turn it over to Jessica Heichel, our Membership and Communications Coordinator.
Hi, WellSprings. My name is Jessica Heichel with your announcements for this week. And here is a QR code. You can scan that at any point to get to more information about any of today's announcements. So up first, there are 2 events happening right after service today, and they are open for anyone to attend. So the first is WellSprings 1.0, and this is a class that is for anyone who is interested in learning more about WellSprings membership or in becoming a member. If you would like to attend, it's being facilitated by Reverend Lee, and you're going to go that way, up the steps behind me, to a classroom that is right on the side there at the top of the steps. That is where it will be held today, and it's happening about 10-15 minutes after service. Similar time, across the lawn in the Gresh Library, the Board of Trustees is going to be meeting with folks who would like to attend a listening circle about the process of calling Reverend Lee as our settled minister. Second announcement, today is the last day that you are able to let us know if you will be attending the potluck lunch that is coming up on the 17th. We would like to hear from you if you are able to help out, to provide a meal, help with setup or tear down or anything like that, but we would also like to hear from you if you are attending. We want to be able to feed you, so the more folks we know to anticipate, the better that will work out for everyone. We would love to see you there, and that is on March 17th, right after service. And speaking of feeding people, our Heartworks team is once again arranging a week of meals for St. Mary's Franciscan Shelter for Families in Phoenixville. This is entirely put on by the Heartworks team, but we are asking for folks to help by donating part of a meal. Scan today's order of service. There is a link there that will take you to a sign-up sheet with a list of items needed, and if you can provide any of those, let us know. The Heartworks team would love to hear from you. And finally, just a note to say, it is spring. There is so much happening at WellSprings. There's a bike ride, there's a potluck, there's lots of opportunities to help out our community, and the best way to make sure you are getting that news is to be signed up for our WellSprings Weekly, which is an email newsletter that comes once a week, and to follow us on social media. So if you have not yet filled out a connection card, scan that QR code. It'll take you to a link. It's all the way at the bottom of the page. It takes about 30 seconds to fill out, and that will get you on our list to make sure you are getting all of these announcements every week. Thanks, everyone, and I'll see you next week.
Thank you, Jessica. And thank you, everybody here at WellSprings, for all those super fun events coming up. At WellSprings, the foundation of all that we do is rooted in the power of connection, making space in our hearts and our lives for each other. And this is the part of the service where we honor that connection by greeting one another. We recognize our community's presence well beyond this walls, so feel free to take a moment to connect and share a greeting in the live chat, or say hello in the WellSprings Oasis, a private group on Facebook. And for those of you here in Bell Hall, a reminder to please ask before hugging or approaching closely, so that if anyone prefers to keep their distance, for any reason, they can just stay seated and give a wave. With gratitude for all the ways that you might connect, please greet one another now. Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for those warm greetings. As always, you are invited to continue all of your conversations in the coffee hour after our service today. You can grab yourself some coffee and continue your discussion with whatever lovely WellSprings member you've decided to talk to. I would like to invite you all now into our time of generosity, which is an opportunity to express our gratitude for and commitment to the ways that the spiritual community has an impact on all of our lives. We sustain WellSprings now and into the future through our contributions. If you'd like, you can use your phone to give just by texting the word WSprings, WSPRINGS, to 73256. It's also very easy and convenient to automate your giving on Realm. And for those of you here in person, our greeters will be bringing hats around for those who wish to donate by hand. You can also drop a check or cash donation into the box near the front doors on the welcome table right behind Nick. Thank you for all the ways that your gifts support WellSprings. Our offering will now be gratefully received. Having shared the energy between us and giving beyond us, let us take some time now to ground into the deep and soulful energy that's within. We do this by doing what is most simple and elemental in our lives. We take a breath. We inhale and exhale without rush or hurry, without anywhere else to go or anything else to do. Let us cultivate peace and experience presence together. As we prepare for our time of mindful silence, we follow these words from Thich Nhat Hanh. If we want to enter heaven on earth, we need only one conscious step and one conscious breath. Wherever it is that we are, whatever it is that we are doing, however it is that we are feeling, let us always remember that peace and presence are as close to us as is our own breath. May this be so for us this moment, may it be so for us this day, and may it be so for us in the days to come. And now is the time for the children of our congregation to join Ms. Carroll for their time in Youth Spirit. They will be meeting in Gresh Hall. Thank you. And as always, we ask that the parents please remember to pick up their children at the end of the service so you can continue to enjoy your Sunday. And now I'd like to invite the band back, well, the remainder of them, for our next song.
Well, I don't know whether to ask you to rise or not. It's nice, quiet song, so you can remain seated. How about that? Unless you feel like you're going to fall asleep, and then please stand.
And stretch. Do what you need to.
All right. Battered and torn, still I can see the light. Tattered and worn, but I must kneel to fight. Friend of mine, what can you spare? I know sometimes it gets cold in there when my legs no longer carry, and the warm wind chills my bones. I just reach for Mother Mary, and I shall not walk alone. Hope is alive while we're apart. Only tears speak from my heart. Break the chains that hold us down, and we shall be forever bound. And when I'm tired and weary, and a long, long way from home, I just reach for Mother Mary, and I shall not walk alone. Beauty that we left behind, how shall we tomorrow find? Set aside, I'll wait and sin, so that we can live again when my legs no longer carry, and the warm wind chills my bones. I just reach for Mother Mary, and I shall not walk alone, and I shall not walk alone, and I shall not walk alone.
Whew. Good morning, everybody. Thanks for waking up an hour earlier, joining us in person or online, or maybe in the future. Hello. It's good to be here with you. And I say this every time I come up here because it truly is good to be here with you, whether in person or online. Because the relationship that we build together with each other in this congregation, it's a type of love. And whether we walk through the doors of Bell Hall or we log in to YouTube, maybe we're inspired to feel something like, I love this congregation. I love this community. Or I love the way this place makes me feel, or I love this space, I love this music, or maybe on a morning like today, where we're up a little early, maybe it's just, I love this coffee. There are so many ways in which we experience love, and that we use love as an expression. It can be kind of hard to nail down exactly what it is we mean when we say that we love something. The concept of love is something that I believe we spend our whole lives trying to define, redefining it and growing and understanding a little more each day, each year, each significant experience. And like most esoteric things, I think we define it best through art, poetry, music. Think about how many songs there are about love. It's probably more of like a percentage, like 90% of them or something. And you can think about your own history and the first time throughout your life that you've said, I love you to someone or about something. Maybe as a small child, it's to a relative or parent, family member, a beloved pet, a best friend, a first crush, a beloved movie star, or a music singer, romantic partner. Maybe the first time you say it to the universe or the divine or whatever it is that you conceive of as God. Maybe the first time you say it to yourself. I'm often fond of a saying that God is love or love is God. And that's probably a whole nother conversation, and we'll leave that for probably next time that I'm up here. But love is hard to define because love isn't just a feeling. It's also an action. Love is a verb. It's something to be lived, to be felt, to be breathed, to be done. And the truth is that love in its myriad of forms carries with it a transformative power, a power that demands our commitment, our dedication, and our effort. We often talk about love as a feeling, something internal, but love is also action. Love can be work, and it often is. We have the expression labors of love for a reason. And in a world where we often are taught to seek instant gratification and quick fixes, the concept of love as effort can seem daunting. In a culture that glorifies shortcuts and often overlooks the beauty of persistence and dedication, it can be hard to think about love as more than just a feeling, as action. And yet when we reflect on our own lives, we can recognize the things that we cherish most often are the result of hard work and sacrifice. Or sometimes they just require that from us. From nurturing relationships to pursuing our passions, love calls us to roll up our sleeves and invest in ourselves fully and our community. So today, I want to explore, kind of ponder a profound truth with you, a truth that resonates deep in our hearts and our beings, about the labor of love. And I had a story that I was going to share with you this morning. A story about a business I started up in my 20s, repairing old arcade machines and pinballs, and talking about bruised fingers and smashed fingernails and minor electrocutions and the sweat and effort and long days and weeks of putting in so much work, not getting any money in return, and then seeing the beauty of a pinball machine start up out of nowhere that was dead once upon a time. It was nothing more than a pile of wood and wire. But I was inspired this morning because as we all came in here, I saw so many labors of love being performed. I saw it in our band coming in early, lugging in gear at 7:30 in the morning. That feels like 6:30 in the morning. Setting up amps and drum kits and practicing songs. And I saw that labor, but I saw that love. Because if you watch our band perform, you can see the joy in their eyes as they belt out those lyrics, strum those chords, bang on those cymbals. It truly is a labor of love. I saw it in our setup crew, moving all of these chairs in a very choreographed and arranged way, in the coffee coming in to share with you all, in the signs being put out, in the welcome table being set up, in our tech crew, checking sounds and learning this morning how the lights work, and a random strobe that just would not come off. There's so much love in this community here at WellSprings, and a lot of it does come through as a feeling, but a lot of it is also action. It's the action in folks like you waking up early this morning and deciding, I'm going to come in anyway, or I'm going to log in anyway. And if you're watching later in the future, that's fine too. I'm glad that you are. But my point is, in just the few hours of this morning, I watched love as action. And I feel blessed for that. Because any time that we notice that and see it show up in our lives, it still hits us as a feeling, right? And I think there's some beauty in that. I think there's more than a few of you out there that know about the absolute joy of getting to share your passions with others. It's something more than just doing, it's loving in action. Some of you know the joy of turning a hobby into something you do all day, like I was going to share about this pinball repair and watching this 1970s Amazing Spider-Man pinball light up and make all these cool sounds. But others certainly know the joy of creating something from nothing, whether you're a musician or a parent or grandparent, a gardener. The thing about all these joys is they don't come about without work, without your labor. We literally call the act of giving birth to a new human being labor. And there's a reason behind that. You put in time and you put in energy, and sometimes you put in your money and your blood, sweat, and tears. But you don't do it because you have to. And you don't do it because you're getting something tangible back in return. You do it because you love it. And love is more than just that feeling, it's that action. So how do we show up for the things that we love? What does that labor look like? Is it long hours in a workshop? Late nights holding a screaming baby? Sore knees and chapped hands after planting in the garden? Or maybe just a disoriented morning after waking up a little early? But the payout, it doesn't look like money, and it doesn't look like a paycheck. Maybe it's the shiny pinball machine. Maybe it's the smile of a beautiful child, the joy in their eyes, or hearing your name on their lips for the first time. Maybe it's just 5 beautiful songs performed awesomely by a band at 10 o'clock in the morning on a Sunday. Maybe the first sprouting tomatoes on a vine, or those buds of the flowers as they peek up out of the earth. Whatever that input is, sore backs or stubbed toes or mild electric shocks, and whatever the output may be, smiling children, blooming flowers, music, the force that surrounds it, that pushes us to do that work, it's all love. It's all love. And I think when we try to define something like love, this esoteric thing, this feeling, this action, this thing that radiates within us and without us and between us and all over, I think that it's our actions that can help us understand it the best. I think that taking a look at that labor, at that work, gives us some of the greatest insights that we can possibly have into opening our eyes into what we really mean when we talk about love. And love has been defined a million different ways by millions of different people. And our spiritual traditions and our sources of wisdom have more than a few things to say about the nature of love. But if you've ever been to one wedding, I would bet money that you've read or heard 1 Corinthians chapter 13. You're probably not familiar with it if I just say that. But you know the verses, love is patient, love is kind, it does not envy, it does not boast, it is not proud, it does not dishonor others, it is not self-seeking, it is not easy to anger, it keeps no record of wrongs. Love does not delight in evil, but rejoices with the truth. It always protects, always trusts, always perseveres. Love never fails. And yes, love is all of those things, many of those things. But it's so much more than that. In my own theoretical rewritten version of the Bible, I think there would be a few more verses added in there. Love is dirty. Love is tiring. Love is sweaty. At times it is painful. At times it asks a lot of us. And at other times we work hard for it without ever being asked. Love is hard work. And yet, despite all that, love is worth it. Love is worth it. And it is worth it because it is more than a feeling. It is an action. It is a verb. And it's almost worth it because of itself. Now, there's an entire argument that you could make that Paul writing about this was actually talking about God and not love, but we'll table that for another day. But if we reflect on this, I want to ask of you, what is it that you labor for? What or who do you choose to put your energies into? Not because you'll get anything back, not for the paycheck to pay the mortgage and keep the roof over your head and keep the tax man at bay. That's labor. Instead, what are your labors of love? What fires your delight? If you are blessed to know what that is, treasure it. And if it's unclear or you're not sure, that's okay too. But there is something in this wild and beautiful world that calls to us, that asks us to show up not for any reward or anything that we get out of it, but the fruit of this labor that calls to us, the fruit that we truly seek from this life, is love. Ask yourself not what you feel as love, but what actions do you take that are love itself? And whether you have an answer or not, just think about it, meditate on it, rejoice in it. Now, I am a diehard optimist. I was not born this way, but I was created through a lifetime of trial and tribulation. In fact, if you knew me in middle school, you'd be a little confused about how I could get up here and talk about love for 15 to 20 minutes. But it's the way I am now. I cannot change it. I would not change it. I need to be one. So I'm an optimist, but I'm not naive, and even so, I cannot help but wonder what our world would look like, what it would be like, if all of our work, all of our efforts weren't just labor, they were labors of love. Where the daily grind isn't a chore, but a blessing. Where the time clock isn't something we trade in our time and energy for money, but this magical device where we put in our passions and love flows out. It takes a bit of an imagination, but I say that the world could use a little more courageous imagination these days. When I do that, I see a world with a lot more joy, a little less anger, but it's a world that we can be proud to be a part of. And again, I'm not naive enough to believe this is something that we'll achieve in my lifetime, but it is a goal. It might be an impossible goal, but a goal nonetheless that I think is worth striving for, worth building towards. It's a world that I hope we can take a little step towards in all we do for ourselves and for each other and for our community. Because if we allow love to just be a feeling, then we miss out on one of the most beautiful and fundamental truths of the world. Love is action. And we see it every day. Friends, as we reflect on the labors of love, let us remember it is not just passive. It is an active force that propels us towards greater understanding, connection, and fulfillment. In our relationships, in our journey towards self-discovery, in our efforts to uplift others, and in our pursuit of purpose, let us embrace the work that love demands of us. For it is through our labors that we not only enrich our own lives, but we also sow the seeds of hope and transformation in the world around us. And so with love I say, Amen, blessed be, may it be so. So I'd like to invite the band back up on stage, and as they do, I hope you join me in the spirit of prayer. God of our own understanding, Spirit of life, Spirit of love, we give thanks for this day, for each other, and for our community, and for the love that radiates between us and around us, for the love that shows up in a myriad of different forms, whether feeling or action, for the love that we give to ourselves and to each other, and that we perform through every act of love every single day. May we give gratitude for the ways that it shows up, and may we hope to recognize it when we see it happening before us. For these prayers I've spoken out loud, and for the prayers in our hearts left unsaid, I say amen. Amen. Thank you.
Please rise, whether in body or in spirit. And if you know this last song here, do join us.
Sow the seed to everybody. Sow the seeds, everybody. So by walking, so by talking, so by everything you do. Don't mind no one, just keep on sowing. You're gonna reap just what you sow. Sow good seeds, everybody. Sow good seeds, everybody. On the mountain, down in the valley. You're gonna reap just what you sow. Sow by listening, sow by loving, sow by giving what you can. Listen for what our world is needing. You're gonna reap just what you sow. Sow good seeds, everybody. Sow good seeds, everybody. On the mountain, down in the valley. You're gonna reap just what you sow. We all struggle, we all suffer, we all work to find our way. Stay together and press onward. You're gonna reap just what you sow. Sow good seeds, everybody. Sow good seeds, everybody. On the mountain, down in the valley. You're gonna reap just what you sow.
Today, this flame will go out, but the spark that it represents, the fire, stays within us. And as I extinguish this chalice, we say these words together. As we release this flame from its faithful service today, we allow the spark in each of us to burn on, to warm our compassion, to fire our delight, to light our paths today, tomorrow, and always. Friends, if today and here you have found joy, take it with you. If you've dreamed dreams, help each other so that they come true. And if you've known love, if you've found love, take some back and give it to a bruised and bruising world. And take us out.